It's not live. It is live.
It is live.
Are we live?
Cool. This is enough to scare people of a Friday afternoon, isn't it?
I told Lee to sort his hair out.
You never.
Well, I've been outside getting wet all day. Been pouring down.
What happened? Did you have to walk to the shops?
Pardon?
Did you have to walk to the shops?
Some of us have to go outside to work.
Oh dear. Tell me, he was actually working.
Last week we had a good chat, didn't we? We did a live. We enjoyed it that much. We thought we'd do it again. And which one of you two told Lee?
Not me, that's for sure.
Definitely wasn't me.
I just saw him whining in the comments, and I thought, well, just give him the heads up this time. Hope he's busy. And he weren't.
Really? This is why you invited me along, to give me abuse.
Yeah.
Nothing ever changes, does it?
No, carry on then.
Yeah.
How's your week been, Mark?
Yeah, not bad to be fair. We've sold a few, bought a few, we're buying a few again. I'm desperately trying to buy in again. So yeah, we're. I think
I know
there's
of a couple, Mark.
You what? Sorry.
I know of a couple. I'll speak to you later.
Okay. I've got another Happy Meal ready for you.
Have you been in this week?
One day. Yeah, one day. Did a lot of work in one day. I've been out on the road trying to buy stock in. What's your excuse?
Well, Shane, how's your week been?
It's been all right. Yeah, bought quite a few this week. Mixture of stuff, good and bad. Best way to put it. Yeah.
Lee?
How about you?
There's possibly more bad out there than good at the minute, isn't there?
This what?
Probably more bad out there than good at the minute.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
And do you find that on the service side a lot, Lee?
No, not really. At the minute, everything I'm going to at the minute. I've got some good vans coming through at the moment. I am really, really busy. It's probably my busiest winter ever. I've got 2 weeks free in February, and I'm booked up till the middle of May.
And is that more? Is that more people that have had first timers or people that have done it for a long time, and you're just getting busy?
Through the spring part is repeat custom. They pre-book for the following year, but winter time, a few of them are vans that I would normally have in spring, and they've changed. Some of them are new customers altogether. There has been a lot over the last month or so who are new to it and putting things to bed for winter. And some of the ones for January, February are new people getting them ready, again, new to it. So yeah, it's really, really busy.
It's good to hear, isn't it? Because I think we all, in the back of everyone's mind, we all thought it might just go like this winter, big massive sell-off, everybody exit, go abroad, but it doesn't seem to have happened. Have you found that on the buying side, Shane? That you've had a lot of people that have bought first time, never done it before, bought one and gone, nah, you know what, it's not for us.
I wouldn't say any more than normal, no. I wouldn't say that's changed for us at all. Just every dealer I speak to, there's just new people onto the market constantly.
Yeah.
And it's just a snowball effect. If you've got a friend that's got one, they like the idea of it, so now they're going to have a go. And that's what's happening.
I've just done a fluid change for a guy, customer, who I did his service a few weeks ago. I've just been and done fluid change for him. And he's ordered a new motorhome, traded in his Swift, and they've guaranteed his price on what he's got. And he's no idea when his new one is coming, but they've guaranteed his price on it.
Yeah, I can believe that, because they're not going to go down. If anything, they might go up. Well, they're probably going to go up again next year. Who's squeaking?
Is it my chair?
I think it's you, Jason. You've had too many mince pies, haven't you? It's been on the mince pies already.
No. Right, before we move on to what we're here to talk about, Mark, have we got any news?
I've got a little little bit, and I'm just going to try. I'm going to be trying this throughout. I'm going to try and do a share of my screen. Is it working? Are you seeing my
Careful what
screen?
you're sharing.
So
I can see
Adrian,
you. Does that count?
Nothing's come up.
you're
No,
joking.
absolutely nothing. You,
Well
what you
done,
need
Mark.
to.
I'll tell you what. I've got it. I'll get with the program in a second. Right. Okay. So, can you see my screen now? Adria wins best new caravan manufacturer. Is that all coming up now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I think it is. So, Adria wins best new caravan manufacturer award. Obviously, they got taken over by, was it Cabe?
Yes.
No, I'm talking about Coachman, aren't I? I'm looking at the one further down. So, Adria wins best new caravan manufacturer and the owner satisfaction awards for 2022. So, I think just the quality and less manufacturing issues possibly with Adria. So they've won that. Also, Coachman have won the best caravan manufacturer in the owner satisfaction awards as well. They are the ones that got took over by Cabe, so they're under new ownership now. So that'll be interesting to see. I heard a couple of whispers that the quality of the Coachmans has gone down since the takeover from Cabe.
See, I've got a customer there whose son lives over wherever those caravans are manufactured. And he says that those caravans over there are absolutely mint.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, he said they are really good, well-built caravans.
Well built. See, I heard from it was within the servicing side of the industry really that the Coachman the quality had gone down, and Coachman have always really been quality vans, good well-built vans. And I was surprised to hear that had happened really. The quality had gone down because it's not a mass manufactured market. They don't build huge amounts like Swift and Bailey, so it should be a little bit more quality controlled. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens over the next coming years. And then, did you know that the AA do caravan and camping awards for the campsites?
Yeah.
Well, we had a chap only a few weeks ago buy a van, and he was one of the AA inspectors. So he got to go around all the different sites throughout the year, stop on the sites and inspect them and tell them they were rubbish if they were not very good. And it was all paid for. And so that's quite a good guide if you're looking for good sites, is the AA caravan guide, which I don't think people really tend to look at. You're normally caravan club and things like that, aren't you? I think when you're looking for a site. And so maybe just something to bear in mind if you're looking for sites. Have a look at the AA award ones.
Shane, you got any news?
It's interesting because we're talking. I will do in a minute, but yeah, I'm talking this morning. There was a friend of mine that's going over to France, and he says you'll absolutely love it over there. You've done your British holidays and everything like that. The campsites are another level, and I think there's a lot that do need to improve over here, isn't there? Campsite wise, and they do need to get better because of obviously the prices of the new motorhomes coming onto the market now. It's obviously getting a different type of person onto it. You know, they're getting the people who normally go abroad. So I think they'll demand a little bit more from the campsites.
Yeah, and I think
So
there's room for improvement, isn't there?
I think a lot of campsites as well have jumped on that bandwagon and are whacking their prices up quite considerably as well. Especially seasonals around here. Seasonal sites around here seem to be really going up in price.
I know that we looked at a seasonal. We couldn't get anything for this last season, and for next season, some of the sites they've got like years and years of waiting list ahead. You just got absolutely no chance. So it is just going to be that supply and demand. The same with the caravan prices, isn't it? When they've got so much demand there, unfortunately, they're just going to stick the prices up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any news, Shane?
Not particularly since last week. Nothing's really changed, has it? This time of year, the NEC is still going ahead, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, and I think next Friday, if we haven't heard anything by next Friday, I think we can pretty much assume it's going to go ahead. Yeah. I think that would be
I
the
did
late.
I did speak to one of the organisers, and she was very confident it was going full steam ahead.
Yeah.
When I spoke yesterday, day before, something like that.
So we'll know by next
We'll
Friday,
see.
Mark.
I think
Why not?
Eating
it's just getting to the point where there's only a couple of months left, and it's just so late in the day to sort of pull out that it would make a bit of a mess, wouldn't it, everywhere? What? What? What?
One of the dogs made me laugh.
It would, wouldn't it? Like, if they pulled out at this stage, then it's just like all the customers that paid for tickets and the manufacturers and the dealers, and so yeah, it just leave a big mess.
John's just asked, are you going to the NEC, Mark, if it's on?
I'm going on holiday then, I think. So no, I'm not. I would have liked to be fair, but yeah, somebody booked a holiday. That's it.
You're going, Shane, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll go have a look around.
If it's on, I'll come. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going.
Because you said you were buying dinner.
Right.
Not there. It's expensive.
It is, yeah. Right. Let's get on to what we're talking about. What's the future of motorhomes and caravans? Shane, what's the future?
They're going to get more expensive.
Yeah.
They're going to get heavier. And one day they might go electric.
That's what everybody's saying.
To go electric.
We've got to look at the possibility, haven't we?
It's coming at some point, isn't it?
Everybody's saying, aren't they, at the moment? The basic people are just saying, oh, do we get a motorhome with the future of electric? It's not going to be long now, 2030. I don't think 2030 is going to happen, do you?
No, not yet.
No, Wendy.
So I've been doing my extensive homework here on electric vehicles. I've been up all night studying about electric vehicles, and do you want me to tell you all about electric vehicles?
Go on.
What did Finn find?
Sat on the edge of my chair here.
Hi, John.
Hello.
Tell us all about electric vehicles.
They're very, very good for passenger cars, but we have nothing anywhere close to where we need to be for the heavy vans, which is what motorhomes are based on yet.
Hang on a minute. You've cheated here. I thought you said you'd done all this research and found out about all the new electric motorhomes that were going to come out, and you've just passed the book and got somebody else to do it.
No. We're sharing the chores.
All right. What have you been doing?
Watching.
Very sharing of
Right.
you.
So what? Okay. So what do we think to this for an electric motorhome? It's
Ooh,
Mark's size.
It looks good, that does.
Called the X-Bus, starting from £17,000. I don't know how the hell that's going to ever work for. That can't make sense. I'd love to know what the range is. It doesn't say.
Is that coming from China in a box, and you have to make it yourself?
It's like a kid doing.
Can you see the inside of the van?
There isn't really any. It's early photos.
Right. Has it got any range?
Claims are between 62 and 124. So we go around to your next door neighbours.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it's definitely made by Tonka, that, isn't it?
And then the next one I found, which is a bit more realistic, is Wellhouse do one based on the Vauxhall Vivaro. Now, if you look at the prices at the bottom left-hand side, they are for the diesels, 51 to 53,500. The electrics, when it appears on the screen, just bear with me 1 second.
Are you having issues like I did?
I am having issues.
It's all right, we've got all day.
Can we not
That's
see
all right,
inside this? Typical camper van,
It's
is
just
it
a camper
inside?
van.
Yeah, we're back
It's just typical. If this one don't work, then I'm lost.
It's killing
Spencer's
all of
killing
us.
me as well. Got that circle of doom that's going round.
Okay, you best come out of it then, mate.
See, the thing is, for the motorhomes, it's a little bit easier for the motorhomes, isn't it? Because with the caravans, you've not only got the car that needs charging, but you've now got a big lump on the back that you can't get into the charging spot when you've got the caravan on the back. Whereas the motorhome, you just pull into the charging spot as normal, not a problem.
Yeah,
John, what were you telling me about the Fiats?
So the Fiat e-Ducato, the base electric van, is £60,000. So that's 60k before you even look at the motorhome builders putting their bit on. So, and that's the e-Ducato is pretty much the best, I think, on the market at the moment. I mean, their range is up to about sort of 200 miles on a motorhome. Whether that's going to be enough or not, because I think the trouble is with motorhomes, you've got to remember is it's a leisure vehicle that people are going to use for their holiday. So if they want to drive from here to Spain in 2 or 3 days, there's no way they're going to be able to do that with the current vehicles and the current infrastructure. Just not going to happen. And if people have got 2 weeks to take their holiday, then that's going to come into it.
I think we need some major investment in the infrastructure before we can get anywhere near, don't we? And then somebody's just put in there about sort of, that's fine on just the base van of giving you the mileage, but stick a load of weight in the back there, and then actually what is the mileage reduced down to?
I know. Okay, so just going back to this Vauxhall look. So 51 to 53.5 is a standard on the diesel. When you go electric, 64 is what it starts from. And these are the ranges that you're talking.
And
as you said, I mean, on a best case scenario, in a normal climate, that's probably more 160 for the 205 mile range. And then add your weight on top of that. I can't see that being much more than 100.
And then the other thing that these figures don't take into account is you put your sat nav on, you put your radio on, you put a bit of heating on, and that range has just dropped dramatically. Even cruise control, you put your cruise control on, and the range drops horrendously, absolutely horrendously.
Everyone will have to go back to maps and driving themselves.
Yeah. Am I supposed to be turning left here, all right? Or there's going to be some right. It's not going to be an awning that causes the divorce now. It's going to be like actually getting to the campsite with a map. That's going to be the new divorce.
There's a good thing. The ranges will never be true. Add cold weather or hot weather on.
Yeah.
We've
got a little. Go on, Shane. Go on. So we've got a little electric car, and in the summer it will do about 120 miles just on a full charge. Get into the winter and we're down to like 85.
Is that one of them little bikes ones?
It's remote control. I sit on the roof. I'm well away.
Well, have I got visions of Noddy?
But even just the cold weather absolutely kills it. Absolutely kills it. And then let alone sort of putting a bit of heating on, putting the sat nav on, putting the cruise control on, it destroys the range on them.
Now we're moving on to campsites, isn't it? Are people going to face electric motorhomes? How many sites will have electric hookups and for vehicle charging? Can you charge the car with the hookup?
No, you can't.
You can't.
It's a lot of sites. Even the Camping and Caravanning Club have actually have basically banned electric cars from charging at their sites now. A lot of them, they've actually cottoned onto it and realised that the electric car usage, they're using so much electric compared to what a normal caravan would use. I think somebody put in the comments as well, can you charge these on a 3-pin plug? But yes, you can, but you're talking like 24-hour at least charging time, and that's like the equivalent of probably putting 4 kettles on boil all the time for 24 hours. That's the sort of power that they can actually take. So the electrical infrastructure in the campsites is nowhere near enough anyway to be charging. If you've got 5 or 6 electric vehicles, you might be all right, but you start putting 40 electric motorhomes on a site, and you're going to need 3-phase electric on there.
That's interesting. Basically, campsites have got to do a complete rehaul, haven't they?
They've got a complete new supply in to be able to sort of cope with it. It's just nowhere near, is it? Even within the next 5 to 10 years, I think it's realistically, it's just not going to happen.
No,
it's
not. We know that.
I think somebody put in the comments as well. Weight is another thing. You've got an issue with payloads as well with full electric vans. Their payload is way down, and that's before you even put the motorhome on there as well. Most of us are limited to 3.5-ton licenses, and we're now literally the most popular motorhomes. In fact, most manufacturers don't want to go over 3.5 tons. But if you're going to go electric, the vans, you're going to be looking going up to almost, to have a usable range with the battery technology we've got, you're going up to sort of 5-6 ton on the vehicles. To have like if you want 400 to 500 mile range, which is pretty much what you can get from the diesel variant, you're looking at 6 ton at the moment with the current technology.
Yeah. So until they get the range up, motorhomes are going to be a no-no on electric, aren't they?
I don't think it's even the range. I think it's just. I don't think it's even the range. I think it's just the infrastructure to charge them in the first place. Because wherever you're going, you're going to have to charge it when you get there, and you've not necessarily got that. So without ripping all the campsites up on top of the roads and everything else like that, it's just not happening. I can't remember. Was it on this group last week they were talking about it, that some of the manufacturers are now starting to look back to hybrids again?
Yeah, we'd sort of said hybrid actually might be more of the future, but then there's something on the TV the other day actually saying that the hybrids are actually worse for the environment than a diesel.
Yeah.
Right then. So if all diesel and petrol vehicles are banned in 2030, we can't go away in a motorhome, so we're going to have to go away in a caravan.
That sounds good to me.
So how do we do that, Mark?
So I'm going to show you. And in all honesty, the news doesn't really get a huge amount better.
Just very quickly, Mark, just to correct that, they're not banned. They just said they want to stop selling them in this country.
Production, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, they're not just going to scrap every single car in the country. There'll probably be diesel and petrol cars around for maybe 30 years. But yeah, for new sales, that's when they want to change the rules, but it ain't happening.
So I've got a few little bits and bobs here, and you'll notice that a lot of the new electric cars aren't really geared up for towing. There's probably the Citroen Space E-Space Tourer that could actually go up as a camper conversion. That could as well, to be fair. But again, then you sort of look at the actual range, and I think it's about 130 miles, 148 miles on electric. But we might see something like that. That's more of a people carrier. But again, you might see something like that being converted. But again, at 148 miles of range, it's pretty much not going to go anywhere, is it, really, to be fair? So then we look, and that can tow about 1,900 kilos of caravan. So I'd have thought that you're probably down to about 50, 60 miles of towing range with something like that. So that's pretty much not going to do it. The Hyundai Ioniq Q5 or Ioniq 5 at 1,600 kilos, that looks quite good, to be fair. Now, they've got a range of about 298 miles, and I think that these look really funky. Try and get a bit more of a view. I've not really gone into the pricing on these, but pretty much everything that we're going to look at on the electric car side that can tow any decent sort of size of caravan, whatever your mileage is, so that's got a 298 mile range on electric, you can pretty much halve that. And I think if you was to sort of say, actually, I'm only going to be able to go in about 130 miles of where I live before I need a charge. And that is pretty much the way with all of them. So there's the Hyundai Ioniq 5, the Mercedes EQC, which can tow about 1,800 kilos. You've got the Nissan Ariya at 1,500 kilos. Probably the one that's leading the way is the Tesla Model X. But again, you look at the Tesla Model X at, I think they're over £100,000.
Yeah.
It's not cheap caravanning at all, is it, by any stretch of the imagination?
So not when you can't charge your vehicle up when you get to the campsite.
Well, exactly. Yeah, you sort of get there, and you can only really travel then about an hour and a half. Well, 130 miles from where you live, so you can't go very far. And then the problem that you've got is actually when you get to a service station, you've got to unhook the caravan, leave that in the caravan park, and then go and charge your car, and then hope that nobody steals your caravan in between while you're charging it. So it just isn't there, is it? It's just not there.
The only thing you can get away with is there's a little campsite not far off from you, Jason, called Love to Stay, and I know if you can get the caravan and the tow vehicle there, they do have the charging points there on the outside near the front gates. But those Teslas start from £102,980. Yeah.
And they'll claim on the bigger ones that you're sort of 300 miles, but really actually towing, you're probably down to 130 miles.
Yeah.
So I suppose you can get to site, dump the caravan, and then try and go and charge it. But you want to go away for a holiday. You don't want to be going away and thinking, oh, I've now got to go and find somewhere to go and charge my car because now we can't go out anywhere. Because the idea of a caravan holiday is you get to site, leave your caravan and off in the car. But that's no good if you've got no charge in the car to take you anywhere.
Yeah.
So it all stems back to the campsite, doesn't it, I think? The campsites need to put in the infrastructure, and that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, that's into this one.
Yeah, that's probably how stupid it's going to end up coming down to is that you're going to need
a diesel engine to power your electric car.
Yeah,
I love that.
Tow a little generator behind you. Did anybody else see the Top Gear show at the weekend? Somebody just put there.
Yeah, it was very interesting because you messaged me, Mark, about it, and I jumped and watched it straight away, and it was really interesting. They had the fun and games, which was a good watch, but practicality, you're under pressure all the time, aren't you? When
you've just got no chance. And then look at the sort of range that they were getting with the smallest, littlest of caravans that are out there. It's
just not really doable, is it? It's just, you can't see how it's going to happen.
No.
Not without destroying an industry.
Yeah.
When did they announce it? Was it 2020 they announced it?
That by 2030 that it's got to.
Yeah. I know. I'm just trying to wonder. When they announced it, but I wouldn't say anything's changed with the industry over the last couple of years in terms of electric vehicles.
No, not leaps and bounds ahead. The infrastructure is getting better, but it's just not being aimed at the bigger vehicles, is it? Like the bigger motorhomes. You look at the charging bays that are out there at the minute. Yeah, fair enough. Some of the Tesla ones have normally got the space on there, but your normal charging bays You stick a 7-meter motorhome, and you're going to be blocking half the roadway at the minute on most of the charging points. Let alone trying to get a caravan round as well. Stick to your diesel, and you'll be fine. Keep your caravan on.
One of my customers turned up with a Volvo hybrid the other day, towing a twin axle caravan, and dropped it at the workshop. And he said, to be fair, that is the best tow car I've ever owned.
What was
He
that?
said it really Volvo, I think it's an XC60, I think it was hybrid.
Right.
But he said it is
hybrid.
Yeah, hybrid. He says it's a really good tow vehicle. But even he said the minute you get, with the van on the back, he says the minute you get any sort of incline in the road, he says the petrol's got to kick in because there's just no power there.
Here's a question. I've just noticed Trad the Globe are in the building. Well, not the building, in the metaverse.
They're in the metaverse.
And that's just got me thinking, because they're travelling around. And John, how could you make this possible, touring in your motorhome in an electric?
What do you mean, convert it?
No.
If you went for electric.
If you were in an electric motorhome now and doing what you're doing, how would it work? Could you do it?
What we're doing? Probably not.
Yeah. You couldn't go travelling in a motorhome, could you?
No, you wouldn't. You would have to plan. You'd have to plan where you're going. You'd have to plan where you're going to charge. If you've got somewhere and you were banking on a charger working and it's not working, or there's a queue, then I went to a motorway services the other day, and it's quite poignant actually. It's the motorway services where you come off to Silverstone, and so it's a proper motorway services. I think they've got four electric car charging bays up near the front, and there was a queue. There was a queue of there was four. They're all full. There were 4 cars charging, and there was another 4 people waiting to charge. And that's at a motorway services. I was like, well, that's just not going to work.
So Lee, how would you get around it doing the job that you were doing?
With an electric van. If I had to have an electric van.
Yeah.
To be fair, based on what's available, I've actually looked into this a little bit, because I was thinking of changing my van, and I was umming and ahhing on whether to go the lease route. And a customer of mine passed me some details on, and it's actually about a third of the price for me to lease a van that's electric than it is to have another diesel one. But the range on them, like you say, you've got to have the higher end one for the range that I'd need. But once you've got a van full of tools, you've got to really be careful that you don't run out of power halfway through your day, haven't you? And it's something else I've got to take into consideration. If I've got to travel and then stop and charge my vehicle up, that's another hour gone out of the day as well. So,
and that's then an hour of lost income for you, isn't it? Basically,
yeah.
End of the day.
Shane, how many motorhomes have you picked up this week?
12, 15.
How many would you pick up if they're all electric?
3.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Like
the logistics behind it.
Yes, it's just not. It's not. It's not. No, it's definitely not possible. We go Cornwall to Scotland, or we have been this week, so there's no chance. It would take us far too long to do the job.
Yeah, Mark.
Again, I looked at halfway. Well, beginning of last year, even we looked. I really so wanted to go for an electric tow vehicle, and it's just completely impractical. I'd have to work on only going about 30 miles, which, to be fair, suits me quite down to the ground.
Bit too much for you, 30 miles, isn't it?
It is, isn't it, really? But it just limits you right down for everything, because obviously it's not just about towing the caravans here, there, and everywhere as well. It's you want to have something on your tow vehicle. You want a vehicle that you can actually go out and use day in, day out, and even sort of a 300-mile range with the wind behind you, and on a good day, on a hot day, with nothing else on in the car. Is it really enough? I don't know. The 300 miles is enough on the infrastructure that we've got.
Yeah, 300 miles wouldn't be enough for me. And I think the other thing that I looked at a few months ago, well, sorry, when was it? A year or so ago, I was looking at the Teslas, and I was looking at something that did do the sort of range that I probably needed. So let's say that was 350 miles, 350 miles. I think you were talking 90 to 100,000 pounds. And then if you're doing 20, 30,000 pound a year, you're probably going to lose 60 grand in the first 3 years in depreciation. Or you can buy an nearly new diesel car that was a probably similar price for what you'd get back for the Tesla at the end.
The only good thing about the Teslas and some of the other electric cars, the actual servicing on them is next to nothing. I know on the Teslas, the service costs are pretty much zero. And again, if you get the free charging then as well, so you can, and then obviously through the business, you can then claim a huge amount back through on a business car. But again, it's just the practicality of it. It's just.
I think the only way, especially with motorhomes, is if they can regenerate the power as we're going along.
And if you
would you create enough solar panels to regenerate? I don't know. I'm just throwing things about because it's not going to work, is it? Let's be honest.
Well, the other thing is we've got 3 vehicles at our house at present. So if 3 of you've got charged vehicles up, you know, I've got to charge the van, wife's got to charge a car, my daughter's got to charge a car. You know,
yeah.
It's just, Here's one for you. Here's one for you, right? How often does your missus' mobile phone go nearly dead because she hasn't charged it?
My missus is never. My daughter's constantly virtually dead.
What are people going to be like forgetting to put them on charge?
The other one I said was, you imagine if you live on a street where you park on the road. How do you charge a car up when you've got a public footpath running between your house and a car or a van? You know, it's just not doable, is it? And then if someone's parked outside your house and you've got to park further up the road, I just really can't see how it's ever going to work.
Well, what we could do is have a bank of batteries in the motorhome, and then when we get to the campsite, we can just take them out.
But again, it's all extra cost. It's like that where with the caravan, adding batteries into the caravan that could charge the car. It's all extra cost that is then going on top of either the car, the motorhome, or the caravan. And you sort of go, well, what are we gaining for all this extra cost except for a load of hassle?
Yeah.
Very well put, actually, yeah.
Because then people are just going to turn around and go, you know what? It is now just easier just to jump on that plane, that electric aeroplane, and go on holiday.
How far are the electric aeroplanes?
Well, we can't even get a car to tow a caravan or a motorhome, so we're light years away, aren't we? We've got no chance. Absolutely no chance.
So, would it be statics that would be the way forward in the future with electric?
But again, you've still got to get there, and then you've got to charge the car up. So again, the infrastructure for whichever way round it goes, if it goes electric cars, the infrastructure that's got to be put in, not just at the service stations and that, it's everywhere. If you go shopping, and I know that some of the shopping places now putting 1 or 2 electric points in, it needs to be electric points for every single car.
Yeah.
Where's that? Where the electric companies at the minute are going bust because like the cost of the electric and the energy is going up because they can't cope with the infrastructure usage that we've got at the minute, let alone sticking a load of cars on there as well to be charged up. It's completely not going to happen, is it?
And the other thing is, when it comes to charging vehicles, you know, people are going to get home from work, they're going to charge the vehicles through the night. So solar's no good as something to provide power for electric. So
Yeah.
Well, you'd have your house would have a power bank, really, wouldn't it? So the solar charges the power bank, but during the day, and then transfers again at night.
And again, it then comes straight back to that. How much is all this going to cost for us? I can just go down and put a little bit of petrol in my car, and I know the price of that. I've not got to mess about with my house. I've not got to have a load of new batteries fitted and a load of solar panels, and but who's paying for all this? Because even if the government turn around and say, "Oh, we'll do all these grants," well, at the end of the day, we're going to pay for it in taxes. So.
Well, let's say they put all the infrastructure in and changed all the houses. Would they get it done by 2030?
No.
Impossible. It's. Do you think they'll stop petrol and diesel production in 2030 of vehicles?
I think
passenger cars, yes. For like heavy vans, no, they won't. I don't think. And the other thing as well is leisure vehicles may not come into that mandate of 2030. Leisure vehicles, they might say, "Oh well, there's no other technology at the moment that we can put something else in with." So I don't know. I can't see it. Definitely for the heavier motorhomes, I just can't see it at the moment.
So you were saying that. You're saying that. Go on.
Sorry, just very quickly. I'm just going to go back pre-COVID. Just less than 2.4 million cars were produced in 2018, 2019. That's a hell of a lot of charges to get put in.
That's only what's just for produced, isn't it?
That's sold in the UK just for that year. Nearly 2.4 million vehicles, full stop, cars.
And we're saying the population around about...
That's passenger cars, yeah.
Yeah, we say the population's about 60 million.
A bit more than that, towards 70, I think, now.
Right, 70 million. How many of those will have cars? A third? Quarter? Be interested to know how many cars are actually on the road.
Yeah. Well, I know that they'd said on the one program the other day. I think it was ZapMap. They were there going, "Oh well, just the charging infrastructure has gone up 40% in the last 18 months." And it's like, well,
just a quickie. How many cars in the UK? There are 32,697,408 cars registered in the UK.
It's got no chance, has it?
Yeah.
So,
you've got to have charging points for all of them.
It's just not going to happen, is it? ZapMap had turned around and says, "Oh yeah, the charging infrastructure has gone up 40% in the last 18 months." And it was like, well, yeah, but the electric cars on the road has actually gone up 60%. You're still you can't keep up with the electric cars that are coming out at the moment, let alone when it all is supposed to be changing. And they're just getting further and further and further behind. And I don't know. I think that there's going to be some change in the diesel. They're going to make it cleaner somehow.
Formula One are playing with it, aren't they?
Yeah, I think
with the fuel at the moment. Just a quickie, Mark, before you do, there are estimated 555,000 touring caravans and 225,000 motorhomes.
I bet there's a lot more than that now after this year, last couple of years.
It does seem low, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But they haven't produced new, bearing in mind, really.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, if you think about it as well, if no more cars are going to be made and they're all going to be electric, the caravan industry is going to go.
It won't. It won't go.
No, I'm just saying if it happens.
Yeah.
It won't be the same.
John came out with a good point saying that they'll probably pass the motorhomes because with heavy goods and everything else. But what you'll probably see then is caravan companies, will they start to change then to lighter caravans? Smaller.
I think that will be. You'll probably see more of the twin axles go. Well, actually, they need to be sighted, and that's what. I think if it was me, that's what I would possibly go and look at. Is go actually, I'll sight the caravan. I've not got the issue of the towing, but again, then, it just comes back to that campsite having all the charger points. Then,
but saying about sizes of caravans, there, right? I get so many people say to me that how they'd like the 8-foot caravan, the wider caravan, the bigger caravan that's got more space in it. So if they do start to downsize caravans, then is that going to put people off? Are they going to
You've got here, Henry. I can see more permanent sites opening up. You just drive your car to the site you want to stay at. That's not what this is all about. It's going out and exploring into motorhomes and going off into caravans and just going to explore. You might as well just go to a hotel.
Yeah, it's no different then, is it? You've lost that appeal of what the caravan is for. And again, it's supposed to be, especially the caravan, probably not so much the motorhome, but the caravanning was always a cheaper form of holiday.
Yeah.
Go and see all different places, go and see all the different areas throughout the country, and be able to literally just hitch up, off you go, and move from one site to another, go 3 weeks holiday, and you can go to like 5 different sites and tour around and
have all your own home comforts in it as well.
Yeah,
don't forget that everybody has everything packed into that caravan or motorhome before they leave. Just going back to how many motorhomes are in the country. How many motorhomes are in the country, Jason? I think they only produce something like 12, 18,000 or register 12 to 18,000 new motorhomes in the UK a year. So at 225,000 in the country, that probably lines up about right.
Now the poison chalice there then, because the amount that's produced, is it not worth saving then? Do we need to have motorhomes anymore if we go to electric? The gas guzzlers, blah, 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 blah. It's not as if we're producing millions of cars, is it?
Just all by
Devil's advocate. What do you think?
Nothing's going to change. It's going
to be like the towing law, isn't it? It's going to literally come to about 4 days before they turn around and go, right, the law's changing on this date. 4 days before, actually, we've had another think about it, and we're not quite sure. Well, we're going to put it back to Parliament and have another vote on it. It'll just be exactly the same thing. There'll be something else that comes along and takes everyone's minds off it.
Harvest Moon Radio, most of what these guys are talking about is scaremongering, the only drawback. We're not scaremongering, we're just trying to have a debate of the future of what motorhomes and caravans is going to be. You going to say something, Shane?
I was going to say, I don't know whether he was saying that we're scaremongering, just generally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, to be fair, the campervan side of it, with electric vehicles is already there. You've got the EMV 200, you've got the, I think Jeff left to the hybrid transit-based campervan. Obviously, that's a hybrid. And all the other light vans that have got electric, they're already out. You can buy those. You've got Sussex campervans already do an electric version. Shane's already alluded to the well house. They are expensive in fairness, but they are available and they do work. So light vans is absolutely fine, but heavy vans, there is just no way at the moment with the current technology that we can do it.
Now, I'm not an expert. I keep seeing popping up in the comments is about hydrogen. I don't know much about it. Hydrogen fuel cells have bad theoretical and practical efficiency. Hydrogen storage is inefficient. Easy ways to get large quantities of hydrogen are not cleaner than gasoline. Does anybody know about hydrogen?
I know a little bit about hydrogen. It's a better way of doing it because you can refuel hydrogen very quickly. It's not like you have to charge it. Hydrogen filling takes on the average vehicle 5 or 10 minutes, which is acceptable. It's almost like a fuel stop. But again, they're really, really expensive, and you've got to find the hydrogen as well. I mean, it is right that the production of hydrogen can sometimes be questionable when it's clean for the environment. If you're producing hydrogen from renewable power, that's fine. But if you're producing hydrogen from like coal-fired power stations, then obviously it's not. But the hydrogen fuel cell is a massive cost still. It's still
the two prime dangers, John, from the fuel cell and hydrogen-powered vehicles are the danger of electric shock and the flammability of the fuel. The fuel cells power vehicles by electrical chemical combining hydrogen gas and oxygen. See, I told you I'd done my research.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you've got in a motorhome, you've got LPG, which is highly flammable. You've got diesel, which is flammable. The oil in the engine is flammable. All of the stuff inside the motorhome is flammable. If you're using lithium-ion batteries, they're flammable. If you're using lead-acid batteries, they're flammable. So that argument doesn't really stack up for like the dangers between like high voltage electric or hydrogen. Yeah, lots of people make that argument, but the safety of it is neither here nor there really. There's always dangers with whatever you use, and like I say, we use motorhomes. We're driving around with 2 massive can of gas bottles sitting in a gas sucker waiting to go off. So it's the same really.
Yeah. Anything else, lads?
Yeah, just electric isn't going to happen anytime soon.
Do you think there's going to be? Go on.
That's the topic.
Yeah, it's almost irrelevant right now.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
I think there's so much time between now and when it's supposedly supposed to be changing. There's a lot of different options and avenues that the manufacturers are going to end up looking at, and ultimately, I think either petrol, diesel, something will come along, and they'll go, actually, when we take everything into consideration, when we look at all the mining for all the batteries and what harm that has on the pollution and everything that's causing, actually the diesel, or this way to do the diesel, or whether we go hybrid, I think when they look at the bigger picture, there'll be a realisation that actually there's another way to do it and a better way to do it. Yes, there's going to be a need for electric in certain parts of it, but it's not going to be the be-all and end-all. But there again, I said that the NAC was going to get cancelled, so I could just be talking rubbish again.
No, because I'm agreeing with you on this, and I was right about that, so we'll be safe with this one.
I think it all boils down to the infrastructure just isn't there.
Yeah.
And if you're going to put the infrastructure in, where are we going to be now? 9 years' time? You should be starting now, shouldn't you, really? And we're still building a train line.
Yeah. And changing our mind on that as well.
Yeah. But probably John might be right. They'll stop making all petrol cars, diesel cars, but they won't make like you say, the campervans are already down, the electric. I just don't know. I don't think it can happen. I don't know about you lot.
Just doesn't seem possible, does it, at the minute?
No.
Yeah, I think, like I said before, I think passenger cars, definitely it can happen for probably 90% of the population. An electric vehicle would be absolutely, electric car, a family car, would be absolutely perfect for them. But for anything that's heavier than a car, you need to just start looking at different technologies. I think by 2030, we could probably do it for passenger cars, but not for anything else. If they really sort of knuckled down and got the infrastructure in, like Mark said, I agree. I think every single parking space in every single shop, supermarket, every town, city, every single parking space will have to have a charging point.
How much power is going to be consumed?
Yeah, I know. It's a big question as to whether the grid level can actually cope the grids and the pylons and things like that. I think they were put in the 50s, so I don't know whether they'd ever envisaged that every single car in Britain would be electric. So I don't know. I don't even know whether the grid level can actually keep up with the level they're looking to achieve. So
No.
Chance.
So I think we'll still have a job by 2030, will we?
well, you can work it out, though, can't you? You can work it out, don't you? A 7 kilowatt charger, which is effectively a very slow charger. So if you times how many cars were registered, what were we looking at? How many cars were registered in, or how many cars have we got in the UK?
I think it was 30 million, wasn't it? How
30 million times
32 million, sorry.
32 million. Well, half that, because probably half of them aren't on the road anyway. So if you times 7 kilowatts by half of what you just said, how many kilowatts is that? It'll probably come up in gigawatts.
Times what? By 7.
7 kilowatts, yeah.
105 million.
105 million. So that's, I can't work that out in gigawatts. Somebody's going to have to drop into the comments and actually work out how many gigawatts this would be if everybody, or if half the amount of those cars decided they wanted to charge all at the same time. Because at the moment, most people will charge the cars overnight when it's on a cheap electric tariff, because there's a massive surplus of electricity during the night because everyone's asleep. So that's normally when people charge their cars. So you're going to have to.
Well, pretty much everybody will plug in at the same time, about 5:30, 6 o'clock, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
It'll be that same thing where everyone used to put the kettle on at the same time and the power grid would just explode.
Just going back to something below as well. This is quite a good point, actually. Just imagine, what are they going to do if a car runs out of battery?
Well, I saw something about that the other day. You imagine a winter crash on a motorway. You've got your heating on in your car. You're stuck there for several hours because of an incident. It's not going to happen. Your power's going to run out. People will freeze to death. Yeah.
And the other thing is when you have run out of battery, you can't just take a jerry can up to them, can you?
No.
It's all right. I've got a diesel generator.
So the electric tow truck will have to come and take you away.
Yeah.
Just on a serious note there, just on a serious note there, imagine if there's like a catastrophe or something in a certain area and we're needing fire ambulances, fire coming back and forth or something. They'd have to be charged up all the time, wouldn't
they? And then you've got the potential problem of multiple incidents they might have.
Yeah, I think they've already looked into this, and they would always have a hybrid version of a certain number of police cars, a certain number of ambulances, a certain number of fire engines. They would all be like the hybrid version rather than full electric. Yeah. Some police forces already use electric cars, and some of the fire services, not the fire trucks, but they already use that. But emergency services, you will never be able to go fully electric, because if there was a power cut for any reason, then you would be, if it was a nationwide power cut and we needed ambulances and fire services and police, then that would be a disaster, a bit catastrophe. So if it was all electric.
And again, I think it comes back to that thing of our little electric car has got the petrol engine in it, so it will run solely just on electric. It's the BMW i3, but it's also got the little backup 600cc petrol engine. So the amount of times that we've gone down to London and you'll have to get pretty much down there, charge up, and then be able to come back, and you'll turn up to the 5 or 6 different service stations and none of the chargers are working. So we've got the ability then just fill up with petrol, and you're fine. Whereas if it's just completely electric and that happens, you're stuck, absolutely screwed.
Chris says a car will
just
use around 500 watts of power per hour in traffic. It will lose 1 to 2 miles range per hour, worst case. Not a problem, he says.
yeah, assuming you've got the range in the first place. Like you
Henry's
said, I can
sorted
just
it.
see people running out.
Henry's done it. Bumper cars.
Someone else said about turning all the roads into Scalextric track, but you imagine all the cars piled up on the first corner.
In the edge. Does anybody play the petrol game?
Not as much.
Where you literally you try and like you see how far that the fuel will get you, and you're like, I'm going past the petrol station. I've got 3 miles left, but I'll make it to the next petrol station.
No,
we're not that tight, Mark.
Is it just me that? Well, I'm terrible for that. I just don't like filling up. But you can't do that in an electric, can you? Because you've got to plan so far in ahead. You've got to sort of go, well, I've got 50 miles left. I need to now start thinking about charging it up, because within the next 50 miles, I'm probably not going to come across another charger.
Lads, I've just seen a great question here. A really, really good question here. Right. Do any of you see any upsides to going to electric other than the government? That's a great question.
As somebody said earlier, you're converting for more hassle. A lot more hassle.
I think electric is much better. I mean, I've worked in the motor industry for 20 years, so I know that a petrol or a diesel engine, they are pretty much the most inefficient. Even the most efficient engines are pretty bad at converting the fuel energy to rotary motion that makes you drive along. And they run at 30 or about 30% efficiency for an internal combustion engine. So they are really, really poor, to be honest. And especially with fuel at £1.50 a litre almost now. Electric actually is much, much better until they put the electric up to counteract the money lost from revenue. Electric is definitely better, but for heavier vehicles, it's no good. The technology is not quite there yet.
The other thing, just currently, I mean, obviously we're talking about the idea of hybrid. I don't think a lot of zones accept a hybrid as an electric zone, if that makes sense, do they? So if you've got, when you've got your lanes where electric cars can go down, hybrids don't count under that rule.
I think they do. I think they're sort of, people are buying sort of Ranger at the hybrid Range Rover.
It's got to be 100%
It's got
electric.
to be pure 100%.
Yeah.
Like, for example, around Nottingham, if you want to use the electric lanes, it's got to be 100%.
Oh, fair enough.
Electric. Hybrid does not count.
Hang on a moment. In 2017, China opened its first highway with built-in wireless charging systems for electric vehicles in the country's Shandong province. The 1 kilometre long road contains 10,000 photovoltaic, whatever it is, panels that convert sunlight into electric.
I wonder how many electric cars they've got in China.
Well, they've got loads now. They're selling. I think the electric cars are outselling combustion engine cars like massively now in China, because China have managed to get the price down of their electric cars in China. You can buy like quite a good electric car for probably about £10,000, or what would be the equivalent of like 10 to 15k. You'd get a half decent family car. Whereas here, if you want an electric car, you've got to spend a decent electric car. You're spending nearly sort of 50k.
Right, at the end of 2020, 4.92 million energy vehicles, which includes battery to electric, plug-in hybrid, fuel cell vehicles, were operated on China's road. These were 1.75% of the country's total vehicle stock. So China seemed to be massively ahead.
Yeah, 'cause they're going to build some of the Teslas in China as well, and they've got like a real big battery factory in China, another gigafactory. Yeah, China are, well, as we know, they're a little bit ahead.
You have seen what happens though in China though, don't you? When you buy a car from China, you order the one on the left and you get the one on the right.
That's what Amazon, isn't it? You order it from Amazon.
That apparently was a serious thing. A guy ordered a car from China. He was expecting. There's a video out there on that.
It's funny.
So yeah, China. Shall we wrap it up? Been interesting. Can't see anything
What's the
at the
outcome?
moment.
I think we've learnt that caravans and motorhomes aren't meant to be electrified, are they?
Not yet.
Not at the moment. No. We'll probably think by 2030 it'll be cars that'll stop production and motorhomes will still be carrying on. But there'll be no caravans because no one can tow them.
No, you can already tow them. You just can't go anywhere. You've got to stop in your garden.
I can see, Mark. I can see you with a Model X. I can see you with like the top of the range Model X. Because you're making so much money on caravans now. You surely you can afford a Model X by now.
I would have really liked the Model X because you can get huge tax relief on it and everything, putting it through the company, but it still just isn't worth it. It just wouldn't make sense.
Here's a question: how many people are moving to living in their campervans or motorhomes?
Well, really, yeah. I think there are more. I'm thinking pre-COVID. Yeah, I think there's more people doing it.
Lee, what's your thoughts?
I don't think we should worry too much. I just really can't see it's going to happen. It's just not doable, really.
I think until we're actually ripping up roads and ripping up supermarket car parks, then we know it's here.
Yeah, until the infrastructure's there, it's not going to happen. Campsites can't take the load to be able to charge anything anyway. It's just not the power there, and they won't allow it because of the amount of power that's being drawn from it. They're just nowhere near. It's 2030. I think it was a political thing rather than an actual truth to it.
Bit like that towing law. Keep coming on back.
Bit like that towing law, yeah. The towing law that's still not been cleared up.
Can you all explain the towing law for us, for people who don't know about it, Mark?
So it was supposed to be getting changed. So if you passed your test after 97, you should have been able to tow 3.5 ton trailer behind your car if your car was capable of that. And I think this is the second time now that they've gone, oh no, we're not actually going to do that yet. We're going to change the date. And the goalposts just keep changing. I think that is what you're going to see with the electric cars, exactly the same. The goalposts will just keep changing and it won't really actually happen. So, yeah.
Richard Mason, in 5 years, not one of the current OEMs will exist. You are all way off the mark.
Yeah. Okay. But Richard also said that we can charge all them up at campsites. And we know that's not possible either.
Are they talking about like?
Could anyone tell me what an OEM is?
Original equipment manufacturer.
Oh.
I told you that last time. I don't know whether
I don't listen to you, John.
Talking about passenger car manufacturers or motorhome manufacturers. I'm guessing he's talking about passenger car manufacturers. I don't think that's going to happen. I do agree that all of the manufacturers have been really slow and they have dragged their heels in the whole electrification process. And to be honest, it's probably more Tesla that have actually shown all the other manufacturers that it can be done, because of course Tesla only make electric vehicles. So if you've got a manufacturer that's making petrol and diesel cars, they're not interested in selling electric vehicles. It's just because the profit margin on I think ICE vehicles is ridiculously high in comparison to an electric vehicle. But I think the OEMs will stay because they're just too big. They're not going to go anywhere. They're probably just all clubbed together, which we've already seen, to use their all the same technology.
Yeah.
So that they can sort of save themselves, really.
Anything else, lads?
No, I think that's pretty much destroyed the electric vehicle option, hasn't it, for us?
What we really need is something like this. Look,
How many
12
batteries is
litre
that?
petrol. The space for one.
Right. Hope you've all enjoyed the chat. We'll have a think about something else to talk about, and we'll probably see you all in the future.
Yep.
See you later.
See you all.
Bye.
See you later.
Okay.
Bye.